Over 6 months ago, during Euro 2020, questions regarding Christian Eriksen's playing career would have been ridiculous, as his health would have taken priority following his collapse on the pitch. But now, with time and with plenty of hours spent in training and getting back to his physical peak, Eriksen is not only aiming to return to football, but has his sights set on the 2022 World Cup. Hey, I'm Adrian, and welcome back to Rabona TV. Welcome back to those who are familiar with Rabona TV. And welcome to those who are new. We are no longer by the Christmas tree anymore. I am back in the studio, which feels great, ready to produce some videos, even if I don't have my luggage and I'm missing an integral piece of equipment, but that's okay. We make it work. And what better place to start in 2022 than with a feel-good story? Eriksen is seemingly back and ready to play professional football at the top level once again. Where? I mean, that remains to be seen. But we'll get to that and everything else surrounding Christian Eriksen and what he's been saying publicly lately. And if you want news on everything and Eriksen, then our sponsors, OneFootball, have got you covered. OneFootball will deliver news directly to you as it happens and only the news you care about, thanks to the ability to customize your news feed and notifications. Just follow players, competitions, and clubs, and you'll be good to go. Track transfers such as a potential Eriksen signing. Get the latest breaking news live. Follow matches live with their match trackers, or watch matches live. Yes, they stream matches on OneFootball as well. Use the link in the description for a free download on iOS or Android, and you can enjoy life as an in-the-know football fan thanks to OneFootball. All right, guys, let's get into it, and we're going to start with some of the recent quotes from Christian Eriksen following an interview he conducted with a Danish TV station, program, channel, whatever you want to call it. So Eriksen recently spoke to Danish channel DR Sporten about his collapse against Finland during Euro 2020. That, amongst other topics, other things that he's been occupying himself with since then. It's a great interview, a very in-depth interview that he has been posting snippets of on his social media. So I have linked to that below along with all of my other sources for this video, as per usual. You guys know how it works around here. But of course, much of the interview focused on Eriksen and his collapse against Finland, so we will go into that. What exactly happened at Parken Stadium, what he remembers of it. So he said of those events, quote, "I remember being hit by the ball and I passed it back using my shin. Then I felt a cramp in my calf and I blacked out." The interviewer then asked him about those 4 to 5 minutes in which he was dead, asking him whether it felt like sort of being asleep, to which Christian Eriksen said, quote, "Completely. When I woke up from the CPR, it was like waking up from a dream. I was far away. I don't remember a thing. Usually you remember bits of a dream, but I don't remember a thing from when I passed out. I struggled to breathe as I came to, and slowly I saw doctors surrounding me and heard voices. When our cardiologist said I was 30, I corrected him and said, 'Hey, I'm only 29. I regained consciousness right away. I remember everything except for the minutes where I was sent to heaven. I remember thinking, surely I'm not the one lying here on the pitch. Nothing's wrong with me. The first thing I thought when I was on the stretcher was whether I was able to move at all. I didn't realize I was dead, I guess you could say, before I was out in the ambulance. One of the medics from the ambulance asks one of the national team medics for how long I was gone. He replied 3 to 4 minutes or something like that. That's when I realized I really was gone." Now, of course, coming back from the dead is one thing, and coming back to a point where you can compete in football professionally is another. But Eriksen has been very consistent with his intentions since the event back in June of 2021. Following his collapse, Eriksen had a surgery to implant an ICD, or a implantable cardioverter defibrillator, which is something similar to a pacemaker. And in fact, according to the NHS, it's very similar, but it, quote, "sends a larger electrical shock to the heart that essentially reboots it to get it pumping again. ICDs are often used as a preventative treatment for people thought to be at risk of cardiac arrest at some point in the future. If the ICD senses the heart is beating at a potentially dangerous abnormal rate, it'll deliver an electrical shock to the heart." And so when Eriksen was asked about whether he was scared about having another heart attack or collapsing on the pitch again, he wasn't really at all. In fact, he said not at all, because if his heart starts to beat out of rhythm once again, the ICD will fix it immediately, or at least in theory. He even made a note that if he was to have a heart attack, or the interviewer were to have a heart attack, then Eriksen would actually be in a better place because he has the ICD to help him. Whereas someone without one, well, However, as you will be well aware of, his contract with Inter Milan was terminated. So why exactly? This wasn't some cold-blooded move from the club, as given how his Inter career came to a close, I'm sure they would have loved to have had Eriksen continuing to play for them. But with the ICD implanted, Eriksen is no longer eligible to play in Italy. Their rules regarding players with pacemakers or ICDs are clear. They are not eligible, as mentioned publicly by Francesco Bracconaro back in August. In order to play, he would have to have the device removed, which is understandably not a risk he is willing to take. And so back in mid-December, it was announced by Inter Milan that the man who scored the Scudetto clinching goal, Christian Eriksen, would be leaving the club by mutual consent. Eriksen has actually been training recently in Switzerland at Swiss club Chiasso in order to keep himself sharp. Back in December, he was training with his old club, Odense Boldklub, back in Denmark, or OB as we'll call them. And an OB spokesperson told The Guardian recently, quote, "Eriksen reached out to us and he is now training by himself. It's natural for him since he played here in his youth and lives around the corner. We are very happy to be able to provide training facilities for him." Eriksen actually provided videos to DR Sport of him, hitting free kicks, hitting some strikes from the edge of the box that, bar down, looking great. I mean, as if that would ever be a question, he's always going to have that technique, of course. Working out in the gym, etc., all with the aim of getting back to his peak physical fitness in order to return to football at the top level once again. All with the aim of finding a new club, since, again, he cannot play in Italy. His agent actually spoke recently about how teams are interested in signing him these days, saying, quote, "A few clubs have already contacted us some weeks ago. We have to see what the future brings, but it seems bright, and that is the most important thing. He had all the checks just before Christmas, and the results were so good that we expect him to be involved in group training with the team sometime later in January. But I would prefer Christian to talk about this himself, and he will do so very soon." Team training by late January or so is certainly a massive, massive boon for Christian Eriksen, and it is very impressive if he is to be rewarded with a contract at a new club. And if that is to happen, then you would think that his dream of making it into Denmark's World Cup squad isn't really a pipe dream anymore. It seems like a decent possibility, and this is actually something that he spoke to DR Sporten about, saying, quote, "I want to play on the national team of the World Cup. My dream is to rejoin the national team and play at Parken again and prove that it was a one-timer and that it won't happen again. I want to prove I've moved on and that I can play on the national team again. Again, it's up to the manager to assess my level, but my heart is not an obstacle." The way he conducted himself in this video, the way that he was able to sort of laugh throughout it, the fact that he, almost sees it as an embarrassment in a way, that he wants to prove that it was just a one-off at Parken Stadium against Finland that he collapsed. It's interesting, and I think it goes to show his competitive nature. He doesn't want to be seen as, oh, poor me, I want special treatment now for the rest of my life. No, he just wants to get back to playing football and being a normal athlete once again. And these are all very positive things, not only for the physical side, but I think for the mental side as well. Because as we said, on the physical side of things, all the testing has gone so well. He has conducted himself so well in training to get back to peak physical fitness that you wouldn't be surprised to see a team interested in signing him once again, despite the medical issue. He can look to his former teammate Daley Blind as an example of someone who has come back from a heart attack, has had a pacemaker or ICD implanted, and has still been able to not only contribute to Ajax and his national team, but has been an integral part of Ajax's season under Erik ten Hag. Whether Eriksen ends up back in the Netherlands or in England will of course come down to a cardiologist from the respective leagues signing off on the safety of a return for the Dane. But it feels like maybe, just maybe, we'll get to see the supremely gifted player back on the pitch sometime in the near future, with England being a possibility, as noted by his agent. Speaking to BBC, he said, quote, "Playing in England again would absolutely feel like coming home for Chris and his family. Christian has been treated exceptionally well by the British public, not only because of his top football skills, but also because of his human values, his modesty, and altruism." So guys, here's to Christian Eriksen, his health, and a potential return to the pitch in the near future. I miss watching him play. He's one of those players where when they're in form, they're an absolute pleasure to watch on the pitch. But that will do it for this video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you're new around here and you enjoy the content, then do consider subscribing for more from us here at Rabona TV. It's not always as positive as this. There are some darker videos, but hey, that's life, right? It's not all positive. There's dark moments. Darker moments on our channel consist of, just financial mismanagement and clubs being shitty. But nothing as dark as, health issues, at least typically not. And we want to keep it that way. But anyways, I thank you for joining me for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Ciao.